Good evening all. Welcome to everybody that's joining us. I can see that we have people viewing, so we're not just talking into the ether, but welcome to everybody that is here. And comments are in already. Hello to everyone. Emma Shaw, Gemma Marie Bennett, Mike Houston. Hello everyone. Hello guys. I will keep a tab on the comments as best I can. But joining me tonight, sorry, Dolly hair. This is my cat hair. Sorry, Lorna. I've got cat hair all over my face. Just been sat on my lap for She mobs quite a lot, but with me now, I should say, is Lorna O'Donnell, athlete number 1405551, event director of Guernsey Parkrun, and also joining us, not from Guernsey, but from London, is Andrew Lawrence. Hello, Andrew Lawrence, regional ambassador, one of the two for Greater London. It's you and Ian Cochrane, is that right to say? And athlete number 165115. Welcome, guys. How are you doing?
Oh, good. Welcome. Thank you very much. Thank you. Nice to join you.
Thank you very much for joining me this evening. So we've had a bit of a pre-chat. We're talking about all things Guernsey. The reason why I've asked you to come on, because many of us watching, and many who are watching, and myself included, saw the fact that you guys at Guernsey came back yesterday, and we are envious and we are jealous, but we are also delighted for you. And I know, I can tell, having chatted to you prior to us going live, that you were very happy to be back. So, Lorna, would you like to tell us about how it went yesterday morning?
Well, we were a little worried. I was a little worried to start with, because the weather forecast was absolutely atrocious for tomorrow morning. And I was kind of freaking out, because I thought to myself, the last thing I want to have to do now is to cancel at the last minute. And so I was really quite concerned. Anyway, we rocked up at Pembroke Beach, which is where our event takes place. And it was blowing probably a 4, 6 or 7 at that time. Mm-hmm. The rain was held off. And I thought to myself, oh, this is going to keep people away. I'm sure it's going to be, quite quiet. But no. That wasn't the case at all. Everybody was so excited about getting to come back that we had a record attendance. So for us, at 256 people, I think we had, that is our biggest attendance in our 4 years.
Yep, I just had the stats. I had the stats down underneath.
Oh, so you do, yes.
Yeah, it's a bit of a delay. There's a bit of feedback on my voice, so apologies to anybody. I think the internet's gone a bit funny, because I don't know if you have potato internet over there in Guernsey, but there was a slight delay on your video. So I think it might take a few seconds for my voice to loop back into, so it doesn't feedback. So sorry to the people that are listening. But yes, the average attendance 135, but you smashed that with a record turnout on your arbitrary 200th event. So you were stopped on 199, had to wait a few months back in March. And then here we are, one of the first events in Europe being back and celebrating.
Absolutely. Yeah. And for a lot of our park runners, they couldn't really understand why we didn't start earlier, because we have had completely unrestricted activity on island, including all outdoor events, for quite a few months. And so they were all kind of champing at the bit, ready to get going. And, it made it all the more special that they had to wait longer than they thought they would. In fact, I think they were betting about what week or month it was actually going to be. So.
Okay, fantastic. Well, I watched from afar via the internet, power of the internet. Actually, I think I was watching on my phone yesterday, because you had ITV. Is it the ITV Channel Islands section?
It was ITV Channel Islands that were there on the morning. Yes.
Yeah.
The poor interviewer. I felt a bit sorry for him, because he didn't really appreciate what he was coming to do or see, and he had these most beautiful polished shoes on, and of course the weather was awful, and our event's sort of a bit of a cross-country event, and he was like in the mud and in the pouring rain, and he really wasn't dressed for it at all.
Obviously didn't look at the course description page to say what do you need footwear wise. And because you're on our Slack channel, because Andrew looks after you guys in Channel Islands, and I'm in the Slack channel. Yeah. I'm an event director for a junior event in the Greater London region, so therefore I saw the conversation with you guys talking about it, and there was one thing which made me giggle. It did make me giggle, that you had to was it bite your lip because he called you a race director.
That's true. You introduced me as race director, and I thought to myself,
sacrilegious.
I think it would be a bit rude. I thought maybe it'd be a bit rude to say, well, actually,
yeah,
it's not a race.
Yeah.
And I thought, let's just let it go.
Yeah, it's all very tongue in cheek.
So often, doesn't it? It happens all the time.
Yeah, I mean, as many of our viewers and listeners to the podcast know, we are very tongue in cheek and joking about that. We don't expect people to get the lexicon terminology 100% correct, and it's like an in joke for us to go, because it's like a faux pas amongst the parkrun sort of devout lots and regulars, and I love listening to the people who were interviewed afterwards. That the kids were saying they really enjoyed it and they enjoyed the run. It was fantastic, and I was just very jealous and envious. And before I point out one more thing, because just pre-chat, I forgot to mention this. Someone's already noticed this. Emma Shaw, Lorna, you sound like you have an accent from very far away to Guernsey, a Scottish accent maybe. I could be wrong. So that's
I'm an Edinburgh girl. Edinburgh girl. And actually, that's kind of how I got interested in parkrun.
Okay.
Because obviously we didn't have parkrun in Guernsey, and I had to start it. And I often go home to see family, and I visit Edinburgh Parkrun when I'm home. And I did that in 2015, and I thought to myself, which is along the promenade, it's sort of along the promenade at Cramond, which is within spitting distance of where I grew up and went to school. And I thought this would be amazing if we had this in Guernsey. And so I was very enthusiastic about it, and came back to Guernsey and approached a couple of people that I knew that said, would you like to start parkrun? And they all said no. And I thought, well, you know what? Sometimes if you want something bad enough, you have to, get on with it and do it yourself, which is what indeed ended up happening.
Mm-hmm. Fantastic. And there we go. And the rest is history.
And the rest is history.
So, Andrew, obviously you sat there listening in on this quite politely in your chair. And people have pointed out, where is the comment? They've noticed this. Nice background product placement from Andrew with me now in apricot tops. There you go. He's been aware of all of that. Actually, speaking of product placement, I've been drinking coffee out of my new little reusable coffee mug. It's very good, may I say. Anyway, so that one big marketing exercise. Oh, what's that? Oh, and bears. What's that bear? What are these bears?
Look at these bears.
These were the bears that were given out by Intersport for the inaugural at Guernsey for #1. So
okay. #1. And so why do you have one? Were you there for the inaugural?
I was there, yes.
How many times have you been to Guernsey?
Once.
Was that the one and only time?
So we did all of the course planning and set up remotely, but also Jeff Miles, who's the event director at Osterley, is a regular visitor to Guernsey. So he did a brilliant job working with Lorna to help sort of, plan out the route and do sort of physical stuff that I couldn't do, from afar. So we between Jeff and I, and obviously Lorna's fabulous work, we got the thing up and running. But yeah, so I've only been there once.
Okay.
So you got one of these, this is our
giant bear.
Mascot.
Wow.
He's got his own barcode.
Is that a proper full-on apricot tea, like extra large size?
He's got his own tea.
Did he have anything like an event underneath it? Did he have Guernsey underneath? Is it on there too, or is
no,
it just a plain
it doesn't. He's blank.
Fair enough. Andrew, by any chance, have you got a pen in your hand? Yes, because you're clicking it. Nervous clicking.
The work thing. Sorry, I put it down.
Wow. I mean, I've never been to Guernsey. I've been to Jersey. I've been fortunate enough to go and do the parkrun in Jersey. And I have genuinely wanted to get to Guernsey because it's only 2 in the Channel Islands. And I haven't done that. But if I did do... Oh, hang on.
I've done Jersey.
We've got the Waterfront Junior.
Oh, you've done the Waterfront Junior. I haven't seen that one yet.
I'm not allowed to do water.
You look a bit old to be doing Waterfront Junior.
Yeah, exactly. If I did it, there would be questions asked, I think. So, yeah. I'm sorry, yes, but there's 2 5K parkruns. And, of course, I wanted to do Guernsey, and then you get your running challenges badge, and you have the reach and air side of things. But that's not happened. Are there any more in the works? Am I allowed to ask this? Because you're relatively big islands. You could contain more than one parkrun on each island.
We had this discussion with Parkrun HQ early early on, before we opened, about what were we going to be called. And Jersey Parkrun had opened the year before, and are clearly called Jersey Parkrun. And so I obviously wanted to have our name as Guernsey Parkrun, and it was explained to me that, well, you know, it can be a bit awkward if there's then going to be a second event opening on the same island, in our case. And I said, well, that's actually not going to be possible. I mean, it certainly would be possible to have a junior event if we could find, you know, enough interest for people to run it. But from the point of view of another 5K event, I don't think it will ever happen, because we are actually in the only place at Pembroke Beach where we think realistically we'd be able to hold an event, because I looked at so many different possible venues and were shot down in flames by, you know, various landowners and what have you. And so I think that would be a real problem. And I don't, you know, we will have, potentially, we could have an issue at some stage in the future if our numbers continue to increase. Because the route is quite a challenging and interesting one. We don't have a route that has very wide, unlike Jersey, which we have much more room, but our route is actually quite narrow in places. So it doesn't really lend itself to big numbers. But the problem is that we've got so few places where you have enough parking, for example. We've got a lovely park. Summery Park is a beautiful park. And I thought, well, okay, that's the obvious place to hold it. But I was told that that wasn't possible, because unless we could limit the numbers to under 70. Because there wasn't enough parking. They had a cafe, they had public toilets, but there wasn't enough parking. We looked at another place which was near the leisure centre, which is actually where Jersey, the main event, is based near a leisure centre. Good parking, cafe, all that sort of thing. But we would have needed to run round a football pitch, and we were told that was not safe.
Fair enough.
And it wouldn't have been very interesting either, would it, running around a football pitch? So.
No, but there are many courses out there that do start off a little bit. Oh, I am very echoey on this. Can you hear that? Sorry. And so you obviously have been to Jersey because you know what the course is like.
I have. In fact, the Jersey team did training with us. So some of our core team, before we actually got started, we went over to Jersey and they hosted us. And we watched them. We went into their cafe with them after the event, and they showed us how to do the results processing. It was all very helpful. They were great.
Okay. Yeah. And so I've been there because I went there because I'm one of these alphabet chasing type people, and went to get my J. So are you aware about the alphabet collection? Do you feel a bit?
I am aware about it. Yes, I am. Yeah.
So have you considered
There's
asking
lots of reasons to visit Jersey Parkrun other than just the alphabet.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
It's a nice course.
You should ask HQ, obviously jokingly, not being serious, to say, can we call ourselves Guernsey? So therefore you begin with the J. And so just have that slight tweak.
That would not go down. You know the rivalry between...
There's enough rivalry going on there.
And Glasgow. You know, that kind of rivalry. Well, you know, it's all for fun, but you know, there's a little bit of rivalry between Jersey and Guernsey. So I don't think calling ourselves that would
the Jersey guys are very excited that you're back up and running, but they're pretty jealous as well. And they're going to try and use Guernsey as a case to help push local government, which is great if we can get Jersey up and running.
Okay, brilliant. So I was going to ask about what's happening with them, and so yeah, absolutely. Guernsey, you are a leading light. And speaking of being leading lights, of course, people are celebrating you, giving you congratulations. James Kemp, that says congratulations, Lorna, on Guernsey Parkrun.
Thank you, James. Thank you.
From HQ, and he's watching. Hello there, James. Lots of people getting very excited. Lots of people very excited about the bears. There you go. Look, oh my word, the Norfolk bears.
Yes, not everybody has one of these.
No, I don't have one of those.
Well, you know, maybe I'll send you one, Danny.
For the museum, Danny. One day for your museum.
Yes, no, keep it mint condition. All your bears, keep them mint condition for the parkrun. It's not my parkrun museum. It's the parkrun museum. It's all of our museum. Hold on to your parkrun logo stuff. And Elizabeth Shazam says, Danny's Halloween sound effects, the echoing in the background. I thought there might be fireworks going off tonight, but they've all stopped. And what I have on the piece of paper here. So thank you for the comments, guys. I'm giggling before it. So the regular listeners to the podcast will know that I mentioned Carol Dickinson a lot. Carol Dickinson did her 500th. She went to Poland to get her Z. She didn't talk much about it. She kept it very low key, didn't tell anyone, didn't encourage anyone to go over with her. Nobody knew about it until the morning she was there. There's a lot of sarcasm, Lorna. You may not be aware of what I'm saying right now, but you had her at your event for her 400th.
She came across in, I think it was July 2017 for her 400th, and she'd been in touch with us prior to her arrival. So I knew that she was coming and I knew what she was celebrating. So we made a bit of a thing of it. Now, at that time, we'd only been going for a year, and it's fair to say that some of our Guernsey participants, it's still sort of fairly early days, and they didn't really quite get it. And so to have Carol over with her family, with celebrating the 400th, it did actually make people sort of sit up and take a bit of notice and say, well, you know, this is actually a big thing. And yes, we had a great morning with her. We had these 400, these giant red balloons, and we were taking a photo opportunity with the Guernsey parkrun flag, and you know, in the background, and our loophole tower, which is one of the interesting landmarks of our course. And she let go of one of these balloons, and it sort of sailed off over the sea wall. The start and finish of our event is right by the sea, and this balloon sailed over the sea wall, and we all set off chasing this balloon across the sand. It was hilarious. But yes, it was fun to have her, because it did help our local participants actually get a better understanding of what parkrun's about.
Yeah, it's a
very
exciting
it is for them, you know, miles, because nobody had really much in the way of milestones at that time.
No, absolutely. I mean, it's a very, very valid point. And so Karen Spackman is saying arbitrary 400th. Yes, of course, Carol was going to be the person to go and celebrate and leave an everlasting memory. I love the fact, because I tend to make it out of Carol all the time. I've known her for 15 years now, I think. Oh, Elizabeth Shazam, who's a regular listener as well. She was just saying that she was at the 500th with her. It was 500th. And I tell walk Zilona Agora. Ah, blimey. Well, obviously, Elizabeth, you wouldn't have known it happened, because Carol would have been there really low key. But there's a point that you make there that, I mean, Andrew, you've done 363 parkruns and you volunteered 262 times. So you've been around a long time. Actually, do you know what, Lorna? I checked up on you, 120 volunteers, but only 29 parkruns. We'll come to that in a second.
Yeah.
Obviously, you like volunteering more.
Well, that's not actually the case.
No.
One of the reasons when I wanted to have a parkrun in Guernsey was because I thought, this will be great. I'll be able to run every week.
Oops.
But I don't know whether I'm just a bit odd, but what happens when you're actually event director or run director for an event is that you end up filling in the the vacancies in the volunteer roster, don't you? And so invariably I don't get to do it.
Okay, fair enough. You're right there, Andrew. You're very comfortable, by the way, I might point out. You look very comfy. We'll get you a little blanket to put over you as well. But what I was going to say, it's a really valid point you make back there, Lorna, about the perception of parkrun and its longevity, its age and relational, and again, relative to people's experiences. Because I've been around a while, and like yourself, Andrew, you go on tour on occasion. And if you go to an event which is very new, and if you're wearing a milestone T-shirt, especially like a 500 or even a 250 and so forth, you watch people who are brand new to parkrun, maybe a few weeks old. They start to do the mental arithmetic in their head. They do the maths and they go, but that's 10 years or that's 5. Hang on, parkrun's been going for that. How is that possible? Yeah. And so it gives them that perception, because parkrun, as far as they're concerned, is only as old as long as they've known about it.
Yes,
so to have someone come over like Carol, they go, oh, actually, do you know what? There is a bit more of a history to it. And I've experienced that a lot myself. So yeah, it definitely happens a lot. Have you ever had that, Andrew, when you've gone around touring?
Yeah, definitely. Actually, it happened at Jersey as well.
Because you were wearing, I think you were wearing your 250th.
We're not having much luck with the internet again.
Yeah,
you just dropped out. Say again, Andrew, say it again.
No, I was I was grabbed for a photo with my 250 shirt, which is obviously, you know, bob a penny to a certain extent these days. But you know, even so, when you go to somewhere where, as you say, hasn't been going for so long, it is commented on, and it's nice. Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, marvelled at. Absolutely brilliant. Wow. Is there anything else you wanted to say? Because I promise you guys you'll only be on for about 20-25 minutes, nice and short and digestible. Obviously, in the UK, we have gone into lockdown throughout November now. Lockvember is what I'm calling it. So we're going into a bit of a strange time. I've pledged to go live in some way or form every day to make sure that our community is sticking together, feeling like we're still out there and we're waiting patiently. So it's a nice way to kick this off by having an event that is that glimmer of light, that beacon of hope regarding parkrun's return, because there's been a lot of people going, oh, it's never going to come back, it's never going to come back, and of course doom mongering, and if you fear the worst. But there are instances of hope like your event out there going, look, if you just get through it all, there's going to be return, and we'll be in your shoes, Lorna. So I want to say thank you for being there. I mean, is there anything you want to say to the people watching who are feeling like they're missing out?
Well, it was something that I've just finished the run report from our event yesterday, and I just thought it would be useful just to, you know, remind our participants, who just generally are the people that are reading our own run report, just to remember that actually how lucky we are. We are in a very privileged and lucky position. I mean, obviously there's reasons why we're in that position. Being on a small island, you know, you can close borders, clearly helps. But, you know, sometimes because we've got no restrictions on anything at the moment, it's easy to forget that, you know, just across the water, you know, people are not in that same position, and just, you know, to be thankful for what we have.
Yeah.
You know, and to be, you know.
Yeah, your closing words in that report is very well put, Lorna. I thought that was a lovely piece.
Yeah. Okay, I'll have to have a read of that.
Yeah.
Oh, say that again, Lorna. Just dropped out again.
You know, people should be appreciative, and we can't take anything for granted, because right now our borders are still closed, but our university students will be coming back for Christmas. They'll obviously have to do their stint of self-isolation, but, you know, there will probably become a time where we might, you know, end up not being, you know, perhaps social distancing will be reintroduced. You know, perhaps we'll lose our ability to continue. So we should be making the most of, you know, what we have, and being thankful for what we have right now.
Yeah, because of course this is a four-week pilot. Is that right to say? 4 weeks? Yeah, so it could easily stop, and I'm sure everybody's going to be crossing their fingers and their toes to basically, I say praying. I'm not a religious person, but praying for you guys that you carry on going. And are you feeling proud? Are you proud to be a part of this process as an ambassador?
Yeah, no, it's Lorna's done a fantastic job. It is a great event. It is a stunning run by the seaside. It's got lots of military history around it as well, with the Napoleonic Tower and the World War II gun emplacements. It's quite atmospheric. So no, it's a brilliant run. So yes, I'd love to go. I will go again one day, but yeah, and I would urge anybody to go as soon as you can, because it is a great one.
Brilliant. Okay, so go and read your run report now. And I will be over to see you, Lorna, firsthand in Guernsey as soon as it's possible.
Okay, and I'll keep your little bear for you.
Yes. That's what I do. If I do this, I don't have it, please. If I beg by default, then I get these things. It's a cheeky position that I'm in. Anyway, but thank you everybody for watching. Thank you for being with me, guys. It's much appreciated for your time on a Sunday night. Me and Andrew and everyone else in the UK won't be going very far for the foreseeable evenings and days. Emma Shaw asked me, will I be going live every day, every weekend? Yes, absolutely. My pledge is to go every day through this November. I want to do that. I want to keep myself preoccupied and want to make sure everybody feels okay. No one should feel isolated. And thank you very much indeed. So thank you for all the comments.
Thank you for everything you're doing, Danny. You're doing a great job.
Thank you. Thank you for being listeners, viewers, watchers, contributors, patrons, all of you guys. And hopefully you've enjoyed that, Lorna. I've really enjoyed speaking to you. It's been greatly appreciated. And
nice to talk to you both.
Yeah, likewise. And so, take care. Love to you all. Everybody, see you online tomorrow in some form. Bye-bye, Bez. Bye-bye, Bez. Take care, everyone. Ta-ra. And I'm going to do this. I think I'm going to drop us out because it makes it less awkward. One by one. Bye, Andrew. Bye, Lorna. And bye, me.